Venerable Padmasri Santenji, the chair, Venerable Santi, Venerable Bhikshu Sangha, and my revered teachers, some of whom I am seeing here, and many of I could have been the students, and my dear friends. First, I express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizer for inviting me here to share some of my ideas, especially to Professor Bhatt, who I admire as my own teacher. He suggested a topic to me, the scholar of Advaita Vedanta and Mahayana Buddhism, that I try to see some epistemological model for philosophical language. Somehow I tried to develop it, and this, I gave the name an Indian version of for religious pluralism, a model for new world order. You know, we are facing throughout the world two types of major problems. One is the environmental problem, and other is problem related to culture, or multiculturalism, or plurality of religions. And these two types, the second type of problem is hampering peace and development. This Dhamma and Dharma tradition has something substantial to give in this area. So we know in the whole Western traditions in epistemology of religion, my friend Switch is a specialist, they're trying to develop certain philosophical model from philosophy of Immanuel Kant and also from Wittgensteinian philosophy to give a conceptual framework for accommodating the peaceful existence of different religions. But on the contrary, you see in India, the culture itself is pluralistic. Madam, in her paper, the I Consciousness, has developed a little bit of it. So I think a very fruitful model, philosophical model for solving the world problem today can be developed meticulously in philosophical language from the Vedic tradition is philosophical terms and its later developments throughout, even from the Mahayana Buddhism and through the 20th century development of modern Indian philosophy through Ramakrishna Vedanta traditions. I don't know whether time will permit or not, but I will try to escape some of the questions. So the conceptual questions I'm going to ask you here. So multiculturalism has become more challenging with advances in communications and information technology. Among the multi-religious countries like India or US, religion is an important phenomenon in the context of speech and substantial development. Then how to address this new challenge of diversity of religious faith and richness of world culture today? I come to the Vedantic model of religious pluralism, which I try to develop from this very concept of Ekam Sat Vipra Buddha Vedanti. The truth is one. The wise people call it in different names. This type of pluralism respects people's right to diversity of culture and encourages self-criticism, self-determination, increases one's range of choice. This is something very substantial what India can give to the world. It not only tolerates but accepts others' religion as its own. Tolerance, though, can create a climate of restraint, but it is not enough. No, it does not give sufficient condition for understanding. Therefore, religious pluralism is against all kinds of fanaticism, dogmatism, and fundamentalism that we can develop with this Dharma-Dhamma tradition. A fanatic is very faithful to his own faith, you know. Just his faith is sometimes compared to just like dog's faith to his master. But in some sense, it is inferior to dog's faith even. When his master comes with a different dress, the dog doesn't fail to recognize him, realize it, But the fanatics, when the same God, suppose God comes in another dress, conceptual dress I mean, he will fail to recognize. And there are problems. Therefore, this spirit is there in the Vedic tradition, and this has been continued in other religions, even Buddhism. And this, till today, this is very much practical in India's way of life, and this has been reflected even in Nehru's first statement in 15 August 1947, when he says, all of us, to whatever religion we may belong, are equally the children of India with equal rights, privileges, and obligations. Now, challenges of diversity. The truth is one, but it can be expressed in many ways. It's one of the major philosophical foundations of Vedanta. Religious pluralism, therefore, philosophically stands for different religions of the world offer various conceptions of and responses to the one ultimate reality. Difference is due to different socio-cultural and historical situations. There is micro-level unity with macro-level diversity. It rests upon a direct experience of otherness and proposes to internalize our religious position by considering as our own the context of other positions. So it claims, my view on my faith is one among many possible ways leading to the realization of the ultimate reality. This is the philosophical implications of the Vedic view. There are two dangerous theories. One is called philosophically exclusivism, other is inclusivism. Exclusivism does not accept that religions other than one's own can be true. Inclusivism, on the other hand, does not deny the role of other religions as true, but it does deny to other religions equal status as it gives to one's own religion. Now, this Vedantic model, we have support from the literature also. In Shiva Mahimna's story, it is said, in Stotra number 7, I'll just give the English the translations. Different rivers fall into the same ocean and lose their identity. So everything enters into Atman. The truth is realization, that is a mystical level. All religion starts with religious experience, and this is mystical. The logic of this model rests on, therefore, on four distinguishing marks. The ultimate reality is one, but it can be known by many different names. God has many names. Through different paths, the ultimate reality can be realized. Each and every religion is an adequate path for the realization of the ultimate reality. And all religions are true. They are all lead to realization of ultimate reality. This is the implication of the Vedic doctrine. One who speaks ills of others' religions speaks ills of one's own religion. This is from Varada Tantra. Now, what is the spirit of this model? Different religions are not making rival claims. A particular belief statement becomes meaningful only when within the context of that religion's form of life. The ultimate reality can be realized in various ways, and there can be many ways of expressing the truth of realization level. All religions are varied paths to the goals, the spirit. Now, in the light of this, if we consider the problem of multi-religious affairs, when a Muslim speaks of Allah or a Hindu speaks of limitless transcendental consciousness of Brahman, they are not referring to two parts or two different religions, but to two ways in which reality has been thought and experienced of. This is the wideness of this Dharma-Dhamma traditions in philosophy, in the epistemology of religion. Human projection colors our images of ultimate reality. As religio-cultural traditions are having diverse conditions, so there are different paths of truth realization. Truth is multifaceted. Its transcendental experience, truth seeker, swings from one form to another in cosmic oscillations. In philosophy, we call philosophy of alternation. There is no reason of conflict among religions if we accept this philosophical model of pluralism as propagated in the Dharma-Dhamma tradition. Whatever be the case, all people believe in truth, and if we accept this thesis, it can be known in various ways, keeping the parity of the Rigvedic model, then we must admit openness, flexibility in our understanding and behavior. This is also from Rigveda. And this is also, we can support it from the Gita itself in the chapter 4, verse number 11. Whatever be the way of worshipping, it will lead to God realization. The different conceptions, the differences of conceptions and approach are determined by logical coloring and social adaptations. And this can be supported even by Brahma Shankara's version, Brahma Sutra 1.1.11. The ultimate reality can be realized in two forms. One is having the limiting of germs constituted by the multiplicity of the world, which is the modification of the name and form, and other is a type of all conditioning elements. The first is true in relation to the world. It is endowed with attributes, creator, sustainer, the destroyer of the world. The second is attribute. This supports the Vedic dictum. This reality is one as the realization level of the highest order. It is not only wrong, but also incompatible to denounce religions other than one's own as being true. This model can accommodate the non-believer, even say Charvaka in India, with his own form of life within his particular language game. Whatever be the case, all people believe in truth. So admission of openness and flexibility in our understanding and behavior. So it gives us a spirit of highest common aspirations of mankind to build up a human unity, to realize oneness in our selfhood, to admit the possibility of free thinking, to admit many possible answers to a single question, and exercise on the logic of alternatives. So it is against dogmatism, communalism, and interreligious conflicts. It is it is rooted in India's cultural heritage, and I gave some examples since India has become the land who accommodated Christianity in 4th century AD, Jews just after the fall of Jerusalem, and Islam, which a few hundred years of its appearance in Arabia. So, when we refuse to accept the plurality of our temperaments, the conflicts arise. And most of the cases, religion is not responsible for it. The development in communication is becoming helpful to know other religions and to appreciate good points in others, independent of religious leaders may have us. So instead of one-dimensional identity, pluralistic identity is with the spirit of Indian model of pluralism. It is good for multi-religious society, for social harmony, communal peace, and development. And then there are supports from Buddhism itself here. Buddhism stands for rejection of all extreme and exclusive worldviews and propagation of middle path. And there are references in the Ascetico's inscriptions also at number 12, supporting this pluralistic tradition of the India propagated. And then in Ramakrishna's, all religions are only different paths. And in Vivekananda's interpretation of this in the very first speech, in Thanksgiving speech, he actually put forward the doctrine of religious pluralism, which is a very, very rich, I consider, from the epistemology of religion and philosophy. And now the conclusion is, if people are educated in this Indian model of pluralism, where other is as good as myself, where cultivation of openness is practiced, where true spirit of distributive justice is not denied, where always the values cherished by the power structure is not true, there will be situations for peaceful coexistence and sustainable development. Sustainable development needs a good relationship between different religions and on the extent of space that each religion can create to ensure and encourage freedom to question. The mega pluralistic culture of India, represented by Dharma-Dhamma tradition, can provide an alternative model to the world order. It encourages creative dialogue between different cultures along with their rich moral traditions. It may prepare a ground for such a society with respect to its members' right to other culture, encourages their range of choices, but cultivates these powers of self-criticism, self-determinations, and also prepares ground for peace and prosperity. Thank you.
Very few questions or comments or observation from among the audience, if you have any, please. Yes, please, from that side. Yeah. Where's the mic, please? Mic, please. Cordless mic. No, वहाँ दीजिए ना. आप ready रहिए. We won't be able to take many questions. Yes, please go ahead.
So I must thank all these speakers. My question refers to this learned speaker, Professor said. He talks about human rights. This question is only for enlightenment. I do not understand how the human can have rights. If horseness cannot have rights, then how the human can have rights, number one. And number two question is related to, very brief question to Professor Mahanta.
Could you please confine it to one question, because other people might also have questions.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Thank you for your question. A very short answer would be this. In order to do anything, you need to have certain powers or opportunities or abilities. This is true of human beings, it's even true of non-human beings. Okay, to do things, you need powers or abilities. And rights are simply ways of ensuring that you can have certain powers or abilities. So I think it applies not only to human creation, but I think you can make the case that it would apply to a non-human creation.
Yes, please.
Yeah, all this.
The speakers have done a great job of explaining pluralism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. Now the question is, how do we bring it down to the level of practice? Because whatever these beautiful teachings are there in the books, but if you look at the ways people practice, whether it's murti pujas, we have all these, 70-80% of Hindus just practice murti puja. Nobody worries about, or very few people worry about Upanishads or Gita. Similarly, other religions also, pluralism, forget about pluralism, Christianity, Hindus and Muslims. Even amongst Christianity, Catholics feel that they are the right ones, and everybody feels in Islam the same way. So what can we do? You are all intelligent, great people. What can we do to bring those teachings to the level of ordinary people who can practice in their life? Because our teachings are all about art of living. It's hardly a religion. Thank you.
Yes. It is your comment, right? Or you have a...
Well, I'm asking how can we make it practical?
Yes, very simple reply is that we have to practice and we have to know our own philosophy or tradition. We have already forgotten our traditions. India, as I said, many things to give to the world, our very rich philosophical traditions. But when you see in India, people are aware of this. But at the same time, we practice, sometimes we blindly practice. But still, India is a better place where we practice it. Even in our philosophical tradition, you see, there is the right to opposition is very important. What oppositions are saying, the Purva Pakshas are saying, for a single philosophical question, there are many answers simultaneously as possible in Indian traditions. So it is very much inherited in our culture. The point is that we are to revive it today. And this is something which we can give to the world. Because people are quarreling because of this inclusivistic and exclusivistic worldview. But India never propagated it. Right from the days of Vedas till today, somehow or else, if you go to village, you'll see people how they understand it. And practicing is one religion. Its do's and do nots is not antagonistic to propagating pluralism. It's also in Indian religion, in the scriptures, especially what you call now understand as Vedantic view, and also in Madhya Buddhism, there is one ample references are there. Even I refer to Tantra for the respect to other views. It's my duty. So a very people nowadays in epistemology of religion and philosophy department of the West, they are trying to develop some philosophical model to support it. But a more forceful model can be developed from Indian philosophy itself, and this is very much in demand also, I think. So the point is that we have to be aware of our tradition, and we have to practice, as said by Swami Vivekananda. We have enough philosophy. The point is we have to practice it. Therefore, he adjectivized his Vedanta as practical Vedanta. This is simply my response to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
My question to Professor Mohanty again.
Next.
Is there a limit to practicing pluralism? How long do I practice that till I die or till my society dies? How long? Is there any limit or there is no limit?
I don't consider it very much directly related to my paper, but religion in India, the line of demarcation between philosophy and religion in India, unlike the West, you know, here our